Hi, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Sam.
And I'm Matt.
Now, today we're bringing you a review of the 3-bar Sabre from Black Fencer, and this is another one of Matt's fine collection of Black Fencers. He has more than me now. However, I'm not going to
Sam's trying to catch up.
Yeah, I am, desperately, but the waiting time, so it takes a while. So I'm just going to hand over to Matt because he's used this mainly. So Matt, take it away, please.
Okay, so this is the 3-bar Sabre. It comes from the Black Fencer website. I think they call it something like the 1821. The 1821 is, of course, a cavalry sword. It has the 3-bar guard. This, although it's modelled potentially on a cavalry sword, actually has a 32.5-inch blade, which is standard for your infantry officers during the Victorian period. So what you in fact have is something that pretty much replicates your artillery officer's sabre, i.e. a infantry officer's size blade on a cavalry style hilt. So that's, I think, what they were aiming for in terms of historical origin for this product. First thing to say, overall, it's not a bad sword. It feels all right in the hand. It's got a very resilient blade. The blade is nice and thick, so it doesn't take edge damage particularly badly. I've used this for quite a while and some quite hard sparring, and there's not really very many noticeable.
It's worth saying you're its only owner as well, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, I got this one firsthand, so this has only ever been mine. Yeah, so the blade is very thick. The guard is very thick. It's certainly not going to take any dents or break. But therein lies the problem. And the main issue with this Sabre is the weight. This is a heavy, heavy sword. And I don't just mean that it hits with a degree of authority, to which Sam can attest.
I can testify for that later.
But it feels heavy in the hand. And this is my main criticism of this sword, is I don't know what it's trying to be. It feels like it should be cavalry weight. It feels like, it doesn't feel like a nimble, sort of cut and thrust sword that you could use in a Victorian style like Waite or Hutton. This feels like a heavy chopper. And that's disappointing because that isn't what I bought it for, and that isn't what I thought I was getting. They really could have done with. I mean, I'll maybe Sam could take it closer to the camera while I keep boring you with details. But that guard could do with being a heck of a lot thinner. It's been over-engineered, and I understand why they've done it. Obviously, they wanted to create a durable product, but that has been over-engineered to a point where that is just ridiculous. It makes it quite hilt heavy, but they've compensated by making the blade very thick as well, which means that the whole thing feels clunky in the hand. I am going to try modifying it. I'm going to try removing a little bit of the width from the blade, and I've tried grinding out some of the metal on the handle, but it didn't seem to do any good, really at all. And I don't want to seem like I'm down on this product,
because it does look very nice.
It
like
looks very nice.
For being a 3-bar, like it's got the hand protection of the correct blade, the guard's the correct kind of size as it would be historically. So
absolutely, yeah. I don't want to seem like I'm down on this product, but if I was going to say anything to Black Fencer, I would say you need to do one of two things. Either you need to lighten this sword so that it does reflect your sort of mid-range artillery officer's sabre, so that it is more like an infantry officer's sword. Or you need to make that blade longer and make it into a cavalry sword, and then it wouldn't feel like it was being dishonest about what it was. But at the moment, sadly, it's really not something I could recommend anyone to buy, unless, and I suppose that's the caveat, is that unless you feel like you like a heavier sabre. But really, for me, it's not a goer. It's not, and that's a shame. I wanted this to be good, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. The engineering quality is fine. It's your standard Black Fencer quality. It's just they got the weights and proportions wrong, and that's sad. But it happens, and that's no reflection on Black Fencer as a company.
No, definitely not. No, I mean, and just going back to what Matt said earlier, it does hit hard. Like there is effectively, well, there is a bit of flex, but I can tell you because of the thickness of the chunky of the baby, when this baby lands,
You know it.
You know it's hit you, which is great for some reasons because it encourages honest sparring and honest hit taking, and also it's encouraged me to work on my defense. So I have a lot to thank this sword for. Personally, my medical bills are extremely high. No, all jokes aside, I agree, Matt. Like even holding it now, like I can tell you, it feels heavier. We've got other black fencers kind of like here at the moment, and it does already. You can tell that after a lengthy sparring match, this is going to take a lot of kind of time, and it's going to get heavier over a period of time. And then of course with kind of a lot of Sabre stuff that like we do, of course, as I've said in other videos, I tend to favor small swords, so I quite doing a lot of point work myself. You wouldn't be able to maintain a lot of thrust and point work with it. I mean, I personally wouldn't, because it just doesn't give, you don't have that. Your wrist would have to be extremely strong to continue that movement and have that nimbleness that you would like to kind of have the thrust work and that sort of thing. So yeah, have you already said it's the older version, the first generation?
Yeah, so I believe currently I'm not entirely sure as to whether this blade has now been replaced with a more curved blade, or whether that is now an option and this is still an option. You'll have to check the time of when this was filmed and posted, and then go to Black Fencer and see. But as far as I understand it, this may no longer be the standard model. But that being said, even if they've replaced the blade with a slightly more curved blade, that isn't going to help, because the main problem is the weight of that hilt. And until they do something about that, this is not going to be a product that most people are going to feel comfortable with. That is, and again, that's just two guys' opinions.
Yep, personal preference. So please don't hate us too much in the comments below. If you have separate, different experiences, by all means, please share them. Like, we're happy to hear both sides of the debate in this. And again, it's not a comment on Black Fencer. We think they're a wonderful company. We've got other Black Fencers, and we've been extremely thrilled and delighted with them.
And I think that's the thing with Black Fencer. They've got so many fantastic products out there that, by the law of probability, there's going to be one that isn't quite there yet. And this is nowhere near their most popular product. I've seen maybe 2 of these, other than the one I own. It's not popular, so it might be that they're simply not getting the feedback to improve. And we know, because we've seen with their 1803 Sabre and with their long swords and their side swords, that they are absolutely committed to taking feedback from the HEMA community and improving their products. So hopefully, maybe they see this video, maybe a few more people get it, give them feedback, and we might in the future see a better 3-bar Sabre. Until that point, sadly, from us, it's going to be a no-go on this one.
Not recommended.
No.
So, but, well, hopefully, though, you found this video useful, and we hope to see you back on the channel sometime for one of our other reviews, sparring videos, or various other shenanigans that we get up to on this channel. So until next time, see you then.
Cheers, folks.